morning, dear students. I hope you all are going fine with the holding company account so far. So till yesterday, we've discussed about some of the major aspects of holding company, like holding company and subsidiary company, minority interest, and yesterday our discussion was on calculation of capital reserve or goodwill, which is otherwise called cost of control. Okay, so I hope you all are finding it easy to learn. And today, uh, this session, we'll be discussing about the revenue profits and capital profits and how it is being incorporated while we prepare the consolidated financial statements. Till now, you've been looking at only the case of capital profits. So let's see how do we tackle when there is both revenue profit and capital profit. I hope you remember our discussion wherein we've seen that uh, there is a determining factor which decides whether a profit is capital profit or revenue profit. And what was that? That is the date of acquisition. Okay, so the date of acquisition by the holding company, uh, the date of acquisition of shares in the subsidiary company by the holding company determines whether a profit is capital profit or revenue profit. So whenever you get a problem, or you have to look at the date of acquisition. Okay, so whatever profit is available on the date of acquisition, that denotes capital profit, and whatever profit is being earned after the date of acquisition, that refers to revenue profit. And we have already said yet another term for capital profit and revenue profit. Capital profit is also known as pre-acquisition profit, and revenue profit is also known as post acquisition profit. Okay, and you can read the explanation in the text as well. And yesterday we've I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, we've said how and where this capital profit and revenue profit will go. We said there is no difference between capital and revenue profits while we talk about minority interest, because we take both capital profit and revenue profit in the case of minority interest. But it's not so for the holding company, because while calculating the cost of control or capital reserve, we take into account only the capital profits which is available to the holding company, and the revenue profit portion we will show it in the balance sheet. Okay, and in today's problem we will see how do we compute capital profit and revenue profit, how are we depicting it in the further calculations, and thereafter in the final balance sheet, which is the consolidated balance sheet. Okay, so now look at this problem very carefully. I hope it is clear to you. Illustration, you can forget the illustration, and it's a very old textbook with the dates too very old, but it clearly tells you the application part of it. Okay, so the balance sheet as on 31st March 1997, you have share capital, how much? 12,000 for H Limited, 5,000 for S Limited, that is 1 rupee shares, and again reserve 5,000, P&L account 2,000, sundry liabilities 7,500 and 1,000. Okay, and coming to asset side, you have sundry assets worth 20,000 and 8,000. Okay, investment, which is very important, because we have seen that when it is a holding company and subsidiary company, there will definitely be an item of investment which appears in the asset side and in the amount column of holding company, that is 5,000 shares of S Limited for a price, or for the cost of investment is 6,500. Okay, so that point you have to notice, and just look at the liability side, that is share capital of S Limited. You can see the total shares of S Limited is 5,000 itself, and holding company has got 5,000 shares of investment. So what is the point which immediately comes to your mind? That it's a case of wholly owned subsidiary. There is no question of minority shareholders, because the entire shares of subsidiary company is being held by the holding company. I hope it's clear. But the investment price is bit higher. The number of shares acquired is 5,000, but the investment price is 6,500. Just let's see how it goes while we discuss the further aspects. And shares were acquired by H Limited on 30th September. Okay, you have to notice it again. The balance sheet date is 31st March. That means what? The financial year is from 1st April to 31st March. You can forget the year for now. So it's from 1st April to 31st March. But the date of acquisition is 30th September. What does it imply? There are two time periods, one pre-period and one post-period. Okay. So the 6 months starting from April 1st to 30th September denotes the pre-acquisition period, and the period from 1st October or from 30th September to 31st March, those 6 months represent the post-acquisition period. So we have the second point over here to notice. First point was it's a wholly owned subsidiary, there is no minority interest, and you have already seen the 6,500 is cost of investment. And the second main point is the periods, that is pre-acquisition and post-acquisition period. And again the third point, Yes Limited transferred rupees 500 from profits to reserve on 31st March 1997. So what does it imply? Yes Limited transferred rupees 500 from profits to reserve. So this profits of rupees, out of the profits earned this year, rupees 500 was transferred to reserve. That means the P&L account of Yes Limited that is being shown on the balance sheet liability side shows rupees 500 less because 500 was transferred from the current year's profit, and the reserve rupees 1000 of Yes Limited shown on the balance sheet liability side shows rupees 500 more because rupees 500 was transferred to reserve. Okay, so let's see how should we take care of that while we compute the revenue profit and capital profit. I hope the portion over the text is very clear to you. You can read it and understand it. First, we calculate the revenue profit of the subsidiary. Okay, the revenue profit of the subsidiary, we know the P&L account balance is rupees 1000, but we have already seen that 500 rupees was transferred to reserve. So that means 1000 rupees is not the actual profit earned during the year. So we need to see what is the total amount of profit and loss account. So for that we have to add the transfer made to reserve, that is 500. So while we add back that 500 rupees, we get rupees 1500 as the total profit earned during the year. Okay, so what you have to do is take the P&L account balance in the balance sheet, add rupees 500 which is transfer made to reserve, so that we arrive at the total profit for the year 1500. But we know out of this 1500, half of it goes to pre-acquisition period, half of it goes to post-acquisition period. So we need to deduct the pre-acquisition portion of current year's profit so that we arrive at the revenue profit or the post-acquisition profit. Okay, so that's very easy. How do we do that? We have to divide this 1500 into 2, 1500 into 6 by 12, that 6 by 12 rupees 750, or 1500 divided by 2, that is 6 by 12, you get 750 rupees. We deduct that 750 which is appropriated or which can be attributed to the capital profit or which can be considered as the pre-acquisition portion of current year's profit. So from 1500 we deduct pre-acquisition portion so that we get the revenue profit alone, that's again 750. I hope you get it. Okay, so 1000 rupees P&L account, we add the reserve, then we deduct the pre-acquisition portion so that we get the revenue profit. Now to capital profit computation. How do we do the capital profit? That's again very simple. We know we have a reserve of rupees 1000. Okay, but we have seen that we have 1000 rupees reserve over here, okay, from the balance sheet, and we know that rupees 500 has been added to reserve from current year's profit. That means that 500 is not or it cannot be considered as capital profit. So we deduct that amount which is transferred from current year's profit. So you get the initial period's reserve, that is what was the reserve portion or the reserve amount available on 1st April. Okay, you need to get the beginning times or the beginning dates reserve. So you deduct rupees 500 from rupees 1000, so that you get 500 as the amount of reserve available on 1st April of the year, 1st April of 1996 or whenever. So 1st April of the year, so you get rupees 500. Now we need to add, we had computed this 750, okay, we had deducted 750 over here because we know that was the pre-acquisition portion. So what do we have to do? We have to add that 750 over here. Add the portion of, the portion means add the pre-acquisition portion of current year's profit. So the pre-acquisition portion of current year's profit is rupees 750. Okay. So the total capital profit comes to rupees 1250. Yeah. So just understand it once more. We take the total reserve given in the balance sheet rupees 1000. We deduct rupees 500 which was transferred from current year's profit, so that we get the reserve as on the initial date. Okay. Later, to that amount, to that 500, we add the pre-acquisition portion of current year's profit, that is rupees 750, so that we arrive at the total capital profit 1250. So we got the first two calculations, revenue profit 750, the star marked star 2 revenue profit 750, and star 3 the capital profit 1250. And now we know normally the next calculation should be that of minority interest. But in this case, as we have seen, there are no minority shareholders, so we don't have to compute any minority interest here. So straight away we go to calculation of capital reserve or goodwill. Okay, so what do we have to do that? Or how do we have to do that? You know, we compare the cost of investment with the share in equity. And in order to get the share in equity, look at here, we take share capital, we add the capital profit portion. You don't have to show it like here, how it is shown here between the brackets, because you have already computed this 1250. So what do you have to do? You have to just add this 1250. Instead of what is written over here in the textbook, you add share capital 5000, add capital profit 1250. Okay, I hope you got it. To get the total rupees 6250. Those 5000 plus 1250, 6250 denotes the share in equity. Okay. And what is the price paid for investment? You got it from here. The price paid for investment is star 1, that is 6500. Okay. So you take that 6500 over here. Price paid for investment is 6500. Deduct the share in equity acquired, that is the share in equity acquired by the holding company in the subsidiary company, that is 6250. While we deduct it, you get goodwill as 250. And tell me, why do we get goodwill and why isn't it the capital reserve? Because here the cost of investment is more. When the cost of investment is more than the share in equity, we call it goodwill. Okay, so here it is a case of goodwill. So 250 rupees denotes goodwill. That is our fourth main point to be considered, 250. Okay, so we are done with the calculation part. We got the revenue profit rupees 750 first. We got the capital profit rupees 1250 next, and then we got the goodwill, that is rupees 250. Okay, now let's see, it's not over. We have just done with the working notes, to be frank. So our task is, naturally you are asked to show all the workings form part of your answer. Okay, so you can't omit them. You have to be very thorough with the working part, then only you will get your balance sheet right. Now moving on to the consolidated balance sheet. I hope it is clear. It's a bit dark, but still I hope you can make out the amounts over there. You can understand or identify the amounts over there. There aren't many amounts. Okay, first we'll move on to the asset side. Okay, to the asset side, there is, I'm sorry, it's not so clear. Let me make it clear. Okay, now it's clear. So first it is the goodwill. We have already computed goodwill. So you have to write down the goodwill rupees 250. You just have to take the total of the assets. That sundry assets, you denote H limited 20,000, S limited 8,000. So total it is 28,000. Okay, goodwill 250, assets 28,000. So the total 28,000. So the total 28,250. Yeah, 28,250. Okay, goodwill, assets in the total, you get 28,250 as the total of the asset side. Now moving on to the liability side. I hope you remember you are not supposed to take the share capital of the subsidiary company. You are allowed to take only the share capital of the holding company. That 12,000 was given in the textbook, in the balance sheet on the liability side. The reserve of H Limited 5,000 was on the liability side. The P&L account of H Limited 2,000 was on the liability side. If you have a doubt, I will take you through there. See, the share capital of H Limited. Just look at the column of H Limited. Share capital of H Limited 12,000, reserve 5,000, P&L account 2,000. Okay, that you have to take over here. Share capital 12,000, reserve 5,000, P&L account of H Limited 2,000. That's very, very important. P&L account of H, you get it from the balance sheet 2,000. And what does that S of 750 denotes? Just pause and think. What is that S 750 denotes? That denotes the star 2 over here. Okay. This 750. What was this 750? This is the revenue profit, or to be frank, the holding company's share in the revenue profit of the subsidiary company. Actually, this is the total revenue profit, as you know, but as here there are no minority shareholders, the entire revenue profit is the share of the holding company. So this P&L account H Limited shows holding company's profit and loss account, and S750 denotes holding company's share in the revenue profit of the subsidiary company. Okay, please don't forget to take this amount over here. So you get the total of P&L account as, you get the total of P&L account as 2,750. Yeah. And finally, there is only one more item, that is sundry liabilities. You just have to take the total of sundry liabilities given in the balance sheet. H Limited 7,500, S Limited 1,000. Okay, you get the total as 28,250. Okay, so dear students, so I hope you understood. Here it was a case of wholly owned subsidiary wherein there are no minority shareholders, but there is the pre and post period. So you have to notice the date of acquisition. Whatever profit is available before the date of acquisition, it denotes pre, and whatever profit is available after the date of acquisition, it denotes post acquisition profits. First you have to compute the revenue profit, then you have to compute the capital profit, then you move on to cost of control or capital reserve. Finally, taking all these into consideration, you calculate the consolidated balance sheet. Just look at this rule as well. While constructing a consolidated balance sheet at a date after acquisition, there is a need to divide all the profits into pre-acquisition profits and post-acquisition profit. Okay, so if the date of acquisition and balance sheet date are different, we need to find out pre-acquisition and post-acquisition profit, and where do we have to depict them. While post-acquisition profits are shown in the consolidated balance sheet, pre-acquisition profits are eliminated by taking them into account in the computation of cost of control or capital reserve. See, what does it refer to? What does it imply? Post-acquisition profit are shown in consolidated balance sheet. Here, this 750, that is the post-acquisition profit. It is shown in the consolidated balance sheet, but the pre-acquisition profit is eliminated while computing cost of control or reserve. See over here, the pre-acquisition profit is eliminated. That means it is not eliminated, rather it is taken into consideration. That is what is referred to over here. It is taken into consideration. We have taken this 1,250, we have already denoted it, or it is made part and parcel of the goodwill account. Okay, so dear students, I hope today's discussion was fruitful. You have understood it. Please go through the problem once more. Please go through the theory, the explanation part once more, and as an assignment, Please do write down this problem in your textbook, the problem as well as the explanation, the workings and the consolidated balance sheet in the notebook of yours, and please do upload the image of it. Okay, and if it is too, if just like you have uploaded as a PDF file, please do upload it, and please do mark your roll number on the top of the first page and your signature on the bottom of the second page. Okay, thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you have understood, you have learned this aspect. See you tomorrow with another aspect. Thank you.